Alright, welcome back to another unboxing video. For this one, we just got in the mail a unit of Gemred Knights. These I did pick up myself, so I guess thanks to me for doing so. But we're going to take a look at this. We know for these, the idea was they come out in, at the time of recording, I think it's only a few days or so, or later on in the month. They said, hey, whenever you get them, release them, see all that. I'm a little iffy on the faces. I will admit I'm a little back and forth on it. The rest of it I love, and apparently these guys are supposed to be huge. I guess we're going to find out exactly how big they are. All right, so we got our box. Let's take a look. Now, this is really important, I think, because I think the army needs something like this. You need something that can... Okay, I mean, your Kron Guardians can take a punch, but you need something that both takes a punch and can also deal one out. All right, so taking a look at the card first. See, this one actually, it looks like a full-on face. You can see the eyes and all, or at least the spots where eyes would be. The way they kind of talked about it made it hard to tell if it actually has eyes. So I guess we're going to find out as we go along. Little code. If someone wants to use it, they're more than welcome to. If you, for some reason, don't have one, I obviously have the licensing that I need. So let's put this off to the side for a second and see what we have. So they fit these guys on 3. It looks, by the look of it, I have a feeling it's 1 per, because you see those 2 giant body. Oh, sorry for the camera to focus. Let me move that one out of the way. That's why it's having trouble focusing. 2 giant body parts. The stone that it's on, for anyone who wasn't aware, wasn't listening, the reason these ones have stone is they said they weren't able to get them to rank up otherwise. I guess because just the overall size. But yeah, it looks like each one is, I would at least hope, one of them by themselves, because you see the body, or sorry, the legs and the body of the guy on top. So quite large. The body. Now, they said this is one of the bigger in terms of brew kits, at least in terms of size and height. It does look that way. If you take a look at the size of this compared to any of the horses, this is, full on the large horse size. But then he's also going on this giant rock and still has his large antlers, everything like that. Let me take a look at another one. In other words, giant rock that he's on. Body just as big. Where is the face? That right there is the face, which a little bit hard to see on this one, but you can actually see next to my thumb the indents where its eyes would be. Does this one have that? Yeah, pretty much very, very similar face, or almost the same. And for the last one, these must be on the guys. It looks almost like a set of wings. I don't know if they actually have wings. Interesting to see if they actually do. There's this one's head. Yeah, actually the heads are very, very similar by the look of it, and they all do look like they have sort of an eyepiece for them. Take a quick look at instructions. Yeah, okay, so it's the parts hanging off of them. I didn't notice that, I guess, when I looked at the box originally. Can't see it too much here, but yeah, there's parts coming off the side, and that's exactly what those are. So not a lot of pieces for these, which is pretty nice, taking a look at it. It doesn't look like you're actually going to have too much work to put these together. Now, for what I'm going to do in this video, what I've done for all the others, is in a moment, when we're done taking a look at this, I'm going to put at least one of them, maybe multiple of them together, and then we're going to take a look and see the actual size. I think for this, the rider is going to be separate. They're probably one of the... I'm going to actually finish up some basing first on Shironi, but once I'm done with those, I think these guys might be next, but the guys have to be separate, because once they're on there, I think it's going to cause me too much issues to really get in there and paint, because they cover up a good amount of the back. And then we have our third one. So it looks like you have at least some options with the weapons. They show it there. You have a little bit of options with those weapons and all, and what you put. But yeah, it actually is on these guys. So I guess they are somewhat dragonfly-ish, kind of like the Skell dancers, which will be the next boxing video after this one. Okay. All right, so that is this particular unit. They are, like I said, quite large. We're going to take a cut, and at some point when I have these done, you're going to see them. So for you, it'll be a moment. For me, it'll be much longer. And let's see exactly how big these guys actually are. All right, so I have one of them assembled. I'm working on the others, taking a little bit longer, but it's also finals time, so I'm doing a bunch of grading. So, just take a look at the guy. Without his person on him, this thing is very, very big, actually. Just to show you a cataphractic next to it. He is legitimately to about his back for the height. So it's height's about to there for this entire model. Then you still have the guy that has to go on top. So it gets a reasonable good amount, essentially the full width of the horns above. The guys I'm putting on later. A little bit finicky. So this guy, super easy to put together. The guy on top was a little bit finicky. He sits pretty good. I'm going to glue him later because I want to be able to. I'm kind of worried he'll get in the way. I'm not entirely sure if he will, but just in case he gets in the way, I'm going to do that later. The attachments on the side are a little bit. Actually, this one's not entirely fully dry yet. They're a little bit rough to put on, but it fits in there pretty good. I don't know if technically there's like little notches in there. I don't know if that's what's actually supposed to be sitting on the seat or anything like that. I don't think so. But I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm just going to go with it the way that I have it. So he was a little bit of work, but the beast itself was actually pretty easy to put together. No real problems there. But this thing is big. If we compare it to standard reference Frit, we can see that doesn't even stand. Like between the two of them, it's hard to tell. He doesn't even come up to his full back. So this thing is very, very large. I don't have other horses to compare it to, but I can tell by just the way the other horses look that, yes, this guy is a lot bigger than those other horses. So the reason I had to put him on rocks, if you actually take a look at just the pure body length is longer than this whole guy here. Not even counting his head or anything like that. And when you try to actually put him on a spot, you'll notice if he was essentially down, this one's a loser because of the way they put him, but he would go hang over so far and his legs would barely fit. They would not fit on a disc. So instead, you got this nice rock formation. Sorry, waiting for the camera to adjust there a little bit. Nice rock formation for him to go on. The rocks do have, it might be a little bit tough to see, but they actually do have some little dents. That's in essence where they go onto the rocks. So it's actually pretty clear where to put them on this, and they do fit pretty well on those. Alright, so that is these guys. If this is an army that you're playing, I'm just going to be honest, I think you need a set. I was actually going to go with 2 sets, but for right now I'm just going to go with 1. I'm thinking, since they're winter, some purples, and then I'm going to do, I haven't decided in what, but I'm going to do some different glyphs and stuff like that, and some bright tones onto him. Somewhat like you see in some of the art, or sorry, the studio painted one. Not sure exactly how much I'm going to match that, but I want to do a little something more. But especially right now, since we don't have some of their, like the Galgos Warriors or some of the other hardy units, you need something that can rush forward and just hit someone well. And then do a decent job actually when you're stuck in combat. So, you should hopefully be seeing these not too distant future from now being painted. My hope is I have a game in a few days. I want to run the 2,000 point army that they listed for sale. So I have pretty much all the pieces except the 1 unit. I'll proxy that, that's fine. But run that and actually see how it performs as an army. I will say for a lot of their infantry, these are a little bit better of the infantry. Because some of the infantry I'm a little bit meh on. I do like the look of these guys. It might just be the head. I do think that's pretty good. Giant weapon and all. The connection here, the arm, it was a double piece. So essentially short part of an arm. And then it was more than just the weapon. It was actually essentially the forearm. So it connected in a pretty long piece. So that actually went together pretty well. The little shoulder pauldrons were a little bit of a pain because the connection point, it's essentially a little bubble that you kind of stick it to. Not too bad. The biggest thing was really sticking these down. And like I said, maybe that little divot, maybe that's actually supposed to connect to a certain spot. But you know what? I'm not really concerned. I have them the way that I have them for his little wings. And I will leave them that way. All right, well, that'll be it for this one. The skilled dancers you should be seeing probably in about another day or so. And until then or anything else, have a good hobby and some great gaming.